On behalf of the Congressional Hispanic Leadership Institute, thank you, Leon, for supporting the CHLI Purple Line Podcast. Leonardo, well, welcome to the CHLI Purple Line Podcast. So glad that you're here.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
So we want to learn a little bit about you, but before we get there, I want you to share with our audience a little bit about the Congressional Hispanic Staff Association, as we all refer to as CHSA.
Yes.
And I'm also interested in why you decided to be CHSA's president. So let's kick off with that first.
Thank you so much. CHSA is the only nonpartisan bicameral staff organization whose mission is to recruit, retain, and elevate Hispanics in the United States Congress. CHSA has almost 40 years.
Oh,
actually.
wow, already?
Yes. So It has a history that, is incredible. And as I've been on the board for 3 years, and I've been able to meet a lot of fantastic people that ran CHSA in the past. And, it's fascinating to see how much it's grown. So CHSA used to be very small, 10, 20 people
when
at
it
first.
First started, yeah.
And it's grown so much. This year, we actually hit an all-time high in membership. We are at over 530 members.
Wow, congratulations.
So, thank you.
That's
So,
awesome.
we're growing every year.
Yeah,
and it's something that we want to keep doing. And then I decided to run for CHSA president, I think due to my lived experience. I think we've spoken about this before, but I moved to Washington almost 4 years, or actually a little over 4 years ago now, and I didn't really have a community. I grew up in Peru in South America, did middle school there, moved to the States, to Houston, adjacent area for high school, and I always had a big community of Hispanics, right? And this was the first time where I really did not have that, and I think CHSA was key for me to even see myself working in these spaces.
Oh, okay. So when you arrived, was there somebody from CHSA that said, "Hey, Leonardo, this is CHSA. This is what we do"?
Yeah, actually.
Okay.
It's when I first moved to DC, I actually saw an article of the president. I think she had just ended her term. Porroa, so she was she was also an immigrant from Peru, actually. Yeah. And I think when when I saw that, I was like, oh, it's fantastic. People that
another Peruvian.
Yes. But then also seeing empowered Latinos in positions of power, I was like, wow, I really want to get to know more of these people. And it's super easy. We send our newsletters every week, and you can email everyone on the board. So I made sure to bug everyone, and we got along, thankfully,
That's
right?
That's great. I love it. I love it. So you've been the president. Is it a 2-year term?
So we have elections every year.
Oh, it's every year.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's been a year. It's about to be a year now, and I've been the president since February of this year, actually. It's about to be next year.
Yeah,
so February.
We're still in 2020.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell years are like dog years.
Exactly. You learned that quickly. Yes.
And it's been great. And again, it's my third term. We're capped at 4 terms.
Okay.
I've been on the board for 3 terms.
First of all, again, congratulations on, what you've been able to do with CHSA. So, I've been in Washington about 14 years, actually a little bit more than 14 years, but CHSA has always been really important to interns and staff that are just starting, whether you're an intern or not. Just to your point, just showing up in a job and trying to find that sense of community. And I think part of the community is also to be able to help you navigate what to do, what not to do. In any job, there's the job description,
of course,
right? And then there's the other stuff that people don't tell you, right? And so being in that community is really, really important, because that's what we tell each other, right? On the sidelines, we're like, hey, you need to do this, or next time try that, right? And no one's going to really tell you that in the job and in the job description. So congratulations to getting more members, really diversifying. And I know one of your really leaning into getting more members has been really talking to different members. So share with us a little bit about that, because you've kind of been on this listening, talking tour. And so share with us a little bit about that experience and that how that's been going.
Of course. So, when I decided to run for president, one of the first things that I thought about was that, we need to make sure we're listening to everyone in our membership. And I've told this to our board this cycle, like I think our duty as board members is to proactively reach out to the membership. So, this year we actually switched up the office hours where we're the ones supposed to be sending emails to the membership, not the other way around where it's like before it was like they had to reach out to us.
Yeah.
So, I've encouraged our board members to reach out and
being very proactive.
I think it's like our job to make our membership feel included and comfortable. But I think one of the biggest things that I learned that honestly, like, someone that lived in Latin America, like in Houston, like it's something I think I already knew, but we are not a monolith, and then we're the furthest thing from a monolith, like I think that you could imagine. And our membership is so diverse, diversity of background, diversity of thought. Like people have just had such different experiences that I think it's hard to put everyone in one box. And I think that's why it's so important for CHSA particularly to actively listen to everyone in the membership so they all feel included. So yeah.
Great. So switching gears a little bit, you already mentioned born and raised in Peru.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about that experience, and then that I believe you moved to Texas when you were a teenager.
I was, yes.
So share with the audience a little bit about that story.
Yeah. So, I think growing up in Latin America was drastically different than the States. I'll say that. But I think it was also a learning experience.
Yeah.
I think I'm one of the many, many stories of people that come to the United States for a better life, and it was my parents that made that decision ultimately. But it was definitely a culture shock. So I went to middle school in Lima, Peru, and my class was like 90 people. I was always used to hanging out with the people I knew. My comfort zone, of course, Spanish was my first language, so I was
Everybody kind of lived in the same area, pretty much. You saw each other, different places.
Yeah, it was, I was in my comfort zone, I think, and I never really considered myself an introvert, right? But when I moved to the States and I moved to Texas, I think I became an introvert, but I think it happened due to the circumstances in my life, right? First of all, I thought I spoke English fairly well, but then I moved to Texas, and I remember I had a class with.
Texas English is a little different.
Exactly.
Too, right?
Yes.
I just gotta say, we don't. Not the whole country says howdy in y'all.
Yeah, and it was funny because it was a history class, and the teacher, she had like very thick like Texan accent, and she would say like Friday, Monday, stuff like that, and then it's like I couldn't understand what she was saying. I was like, well, I really need to like practice like actually like understanding like Texas,
right?
And so I started like actually like practicing English and then trying to talk to people, but it was a lot harder.
Right.
It was a lot harder, and then also I actually skipped a grade because I guess my curriculum in Peru, math was more advanced.
Don't even get me started on the education system, because every other country's education system is a little further along than ours here.
Yeah, so I skipped
I'm sure
a grade.
You skipped a grade.
Yeah, and so I was the youngest one, and at 13, tiny.
Yeah, because the only difference is the language.
Yes.
Right? You definitely excelled in the math classes and all the history and all of that. It was just the English.
It is. And so, I tell people, like, I had to relearn how to, like, be, like, talk to people and be social, and just work twice as hard. Right? Than other people. And I think that is a story that so many in our community have. Right, and so I just pushed really hard. In 2 years, I was able to learn the language, and after that, I just really started developing a passion for figuring out why this country is the way it is, and then that led me into politics, and I studied econ, and
Very cool. Yeah, so learning English, trying to navigate what this country is all about, learning how Texas is not the same as all the states, and how every state is different.
It is.
And wanting to do more in public service. I don't know. You sound like you're running for president one of these days, Leonardo. So I just got to say, just make sure that I know that I can say that I remember Leonardo when.
God,
okay.
No,
so going back to being in school, we all have, I think, at some point in our lives, whether it's an elementary school teacher, I could say when middle school, or in college, was there any specific teacher that helped you along or a mentor?
Yeah.
We talk about mentoring at CHLI and also with CHSA. So is there a mentor or a story you can share with us in the audience?
Of course.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think every success story has a mentor or someone that took that leap of faith.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
And encouraging someone to dream big, I would say. And I vividly remember when I was in 7th grade, I believe. It was about it was after school. I was sitting at a bench waiting for my parents to pick me up, and I ran into my English professor. Her name was Miss Turkey.
Okay.
And I remember she opening up to her and telling her, hey, how long is it going to take me to learn English? I really want to be able to do this. Yeah. And then she just told me, she was like, you're doing amazing. You're doing a great job. Don't ever think that you can't do this. And you'll be able to get where you want to get.
Yeah.
But it was I don't remember her words specifically, but they were so inspirational. And I do remember the emotion as a kid and being like, wow, I can do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I remember she motivated me to be like, this is not that bad. And then I can keep going and I am capable.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I still remember her name.
Yeah, I know, because that's important. We all remember, I think, that teacher or, like I said, that counselor. For me growing up, we had one Latino high school counselor, and that was it. Mm. And so, you were divided up based on, I think it was your last name or something like that.
Yes.
But he was unofficially the Latino counselor. He would go through and figure out who was doing well in classes, and he would pull you aside and he would be like, you need to study this and you need to go to college and I'm going to show you. If it hadn't been for Richard Soto, who's still alive in Tracy, California, there's a whole bunch of us that never would have gone to college because we just didn't, we didn't think about that, either.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you have an opportunity here to thank the teacher and do a little shout out. So, and what's the name of the school?
So it was McCullough Junior High School.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So let's talk about a little bit going from there to college. So you finished the elementary school, high school, and then where did you go to college?
Yeah. So I actually went to community college.
Okay.
For 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was able to get student loans for University of Houston. And I think a lot of my friends also that moved here later on in life, that was something that, you need to have a certain status to get student loans.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was able to get a green card, then citizenship. But I think, it was more of getting that access took a little bit.
Right.
And so again, I think it's so common for immigrants to go to community college, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, it's also just an opportunity for a lot of people.
Yes.
Sometimes it's an opportunity so that some of the universities cost a lot.
Yeah.
Or you're in a situation where you need, a lot of us need to be closer to home for a while. So you go to community college, you take the general education courses, and then you also kind of figure out what college is like.
Yes.
Right? Because you don't have the same structure like you do in high school. You have to pick your own classes. You're kind of on your own. Yeah. You have to kind of navigate and learn that. So it's just a little different.
No, yeah. And and I think it was a phenomenal experience for me. I learned so much. I don't think I was ever in my own bubble. I met people from all ages, all areas of life, and I went to community college for 2 years, and I transferred to the University of Houston, which was actually... And
by this time, you had howdy down,
yes,
right?
Yeah.
You knew what to say.
I did. It was...
I love it.
Stayed in Texas and stayed close to home.
Mm-hmm.
My school was 40-minute drive from my parents.
Okay.
And it happened during COVID.
Oh, wow.
Yes, it happened during COVID. So it was actually, I only lived on campus for around, I think, a year and a half. So, I never really had your traditional, I guess, college experience, like many people did during COVID. But it was very rewarding. And I think I was very, very lucky to have, the support of my parents and just really develop a passion for learning during my time there. So
yeah, no, that's awesome. And what did you study?
So I studied economics.
Okay.
and I minored in political science.
All right. And then did you have an internship here in Washington, or what led you to Washington?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
was this while you were at the university?
yeah. So actually, I had no idea I was going to end up in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
I never really planned it. I honestly, it was sort of like curiosity.
Okay.
And,
which is good.
Yeah,
Which is good.
yeah. And, as someone that moved from another country, I think I really had so much curiosity as to why some countries have stronger rule of law than others. And I think that led me into studying economics, because I wanted to know why some countries are developed, some countries are, in the developing stage. And eventually I became really curious about the United States and why it functions the way it does. And, that's why I minored in political science. But then I was very lucky because my university had like partnership with like a Houston government.
Ah, okay.
So I was able to intern for the city controller back then, Chris Brown.
Very cool.
It was my first like political internship.
Okay.
So once I did that, I was able to then figure out how to get other
Okay, so back up for a
opportunities.
second. How did you get that internship? Because that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
So how'd you get that?
It was hard. Like I had to get. I think there was a cap for the GPA, and I was never like.
Did you know about the internship, or did somebody say, or your professor?
Yeah, I think it was a school was advertising. It was the CHIP program. It's what it's called in Houston, which they would connect students with the mayor's office and then with adjacent offices in Houston government. Yeah.
All right.
So I just applied, and then I got in, and then after that, that's when I started trying to develop more.
Oh, let's see. How do I go from here to DC?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think for me it was more of just like the impact that you can make, right?
Right.
So as an econ major, like it was all theory, which was great, and I learned a lot about the theory of economics and what things function. But with the city controller, like I was able, like I remember this was during COVID, and he told me to make a report of why we couldn't increase taxes in the city yet. So I had to go through all the sectors and measure the inflation that was happening, right? And so doing that, and then having him like use it for like the report, I was like, wow, like this is actually making like a huge impact for people in the city.
People actually use this information. This is what you need. Yeah.
And so that's what I think sparked my passion to do.
So when did you come to Washington? And you had said you'd only been here for a short time.
Yeah.
Did you graduate and then apply for an opportunity here?
I did. So actually, when I was graduating, I was figuring out what to do. I wasn't completely sure, but I did. For me, it was either like going into academia, like doing like a PhD in econ or like a master's.
Which you still can do.
Yeah.
You still can do that.
Or exploring other areas. And I remember I wanted to study abroad, but then COVID happened.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Okay.
And so I never had the opportunity to live outside of Texas. And I was like, I really want to like live somewhere else, right? And so I knew about DC through this program called the Fund for American Studies that I think you guys
right. So we work with the Fund for
partner.
American Studies and also the Washington Center.
That's right. That's right. So I applied, and they gave me a good stipend, and I was like,
okay.
When am I going to have an opportunity to live in Washington?
Yeah, and that's hard because, we tell college students, and when I talk to students that are not even like in this program, right, just students in other campuses, it's like, look, if you figure, how long you're going to live.
Yeah.
If you can, study abroad, to your point. And if you can't, like, spend a semester or a summer in Washington, D.C., just kind of give yourself that opportunity to learn something different, be with a different community. And then if you like it, some people get that D.C. bug and they want to stay. Yeah. Others decide, check the box. I tried it. This is not my game. I'm going to go do something else. But it sounds like you got the D.C. bug. Right?
I guess so. I'm still here.
Yeah. So you finished that internship and then got an opportunity to, you just learned, let me back up. When you were a student through the Fund for American Studies, were you on the Hill?
Yes. So I was able to get an internship on the Hill.
Okay. You
and
did.
then I was able to also do school. So they had a partnership with George Mason University. So I took some classes there. Yep. And there was multiple students in my cohort that were also interning. And I think I think that really made me get out of my comfort zone.
Good.
Right. As we mentioned earlier, like it was my first time living so far away from my family, but also not being in like a heavily like Hispanic area.
Right. Yeah, it's very different. You have to learn how to navigate. And there's just different nuances, right?
Yeah.
And so it's definitely a little different. But you were in a program through the Fund for American Studies, so you also had like that group.
That's
that
right.
Student, that
That's
cohort,
right. And
right? So I think it makes a difference versus coming cold turkey by yourself.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yes. It was
great. Yeah. So you interned through the Fund for American Studies, and then now you're working in Congress. So did you have the opportunity to just go straight from that internship to the job?
So not really. I mean, I had to look for a job myself. So it was a lot of grinding it out.
Yeah.
And I think actually that's what motivated me to then contribute and get back to CHSA with my time on the board.
Yeah.
But I had to create my own network from scratch.
Okay.
Right? Like I had no contacts. It was, I didn't know anybody in like the political circles in DC. Like it's like I came here knowing no one, right? And I started from the bottom, and I think what really helped me build my network was CHSA, right? And the way that happened is that I tried to be as active as I could be and use an organization where I had things in common with people to then have them root for me. And I remember the first event that I ever went to was at the Colombian Embassy. And I was late because I got lost. I did, as a new like intern from DC. It's like Northwest, Northeast. There's like different.
Oh my gosh! Yes, yes.
So I got lost, and I was late. And I remember everyone was like dancing salsa, and I was just there by myself. It was the most awkward thing in the world. But I had to push myself to talk to someone. Right. And I talked to this one person, and then introduced me to this other person. And after that, I was just like, okay. And then I really forced myself to get to know more people. But long story short, I probably applied to over 100 jobs. Had to grab over 50 coffees with people. It was around 8-9 months of just like, working during the day, networking, going to as many receptions, as many events as I possibly could, and then collecting business cards like Pokemon cards, and then eventually
like Pokemon cards.
Yeah, and then it was just a grind, and eventually my resume got flagged, and I landed on the Hill.
So around how much time was that, do you think?
Yeah, so it was probably around 7 or 8 months.
Okay.
And it was actually, I think timing lined up perfect. One of my mentors always told me, and he was like, if you work really hard, and you just like, keep your head down and work hard, stars, destiny, but something like it would all line up and things will eventually work out. And for some, I think I truly do believe in that, because I think for my experience, like my internship had ran out. Right. And it was like I had no more money. Yeah. And I had like 1 more month, and I had gotten another internship, but then I found out I was going to get paid, not as much as I thought I was going to get paid. And I was like, okay, I'm still going to figure it out.
Right,
and
keep
pushing. And then 2 weeks in, and it was actually when like it was like the actual ceremony, that's when I got my internship. And then I got a call, and I got a job like right after, like it was very close to the end of the month, and I was like, it all worked out like perfectly on my end, and I got lucky.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that people listening grasp the commitment that you had for yourself, and being able to say, okay, this is where I want to go. This is what I want to do. This is the steps that I'm going to take, and commit to doing it, right? Because sometimes what happens is we get kind of lazy and we don't follow through. And the difference is that commitment. Yeah. The daily, consistent, getting the coffee, applying for the job. Yeah. Knowing you may get a rejection letter, but whatever. Keep going, and it's hard to keep going some days, because it doesn't feel like you're going to get there. So, to good for you for doing that, and again, for people listening, that there is that end if you're committed to it, and don't give up on yourself.
No, absolutely. Right? Like I joke around and tell people like I was grabbing a coffee on my birthday. I remember.
Yeah, anytime.
I was 24/7, and then but it worked out. So.
Yeah. Well, I got two more questions for you. One is actually a congratulations, because I understand you've also just finished a master's program.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what is the master's in?
Yes. So I just finished a master's public policy.
Okay.
Georgetown, the McCourt School. It's actually a fairly new school, and they just opened up an amazing campus. It's a 10-minute walk from the Senate, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was a very generous donation from Frank McCourt, and I think it's going to be a great opportunity for Hill staffers to get their degree.
Very
there,
cool.
Since it's
all right.
by.
Well, congratulations. And I want to end with, I always ask our guests, going back to high school or college or even your recent master's program, what was your favorite class and why?
That's a good one. Yeah, so, well, I have to say, I think what really sparked my passion for learning was econ.
Okay.
And I think I had a really great professor for the University of Houston, actually, that taught me macroeconomics. Mm-hmm. And his name is Leo Mendoza, actually. He had the same last name.
That's why we really like this guy.
And he was also Peruvian, actually. Yeah, he was also Peruvian.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Were you guys from the same town or something?
No, it was.
You sure you're not related?
Crazy. I joked around and I told him, I was like, are we cousins?
Yeah.
And he was like, no. And I was like, and this is back when.
That's hilarious.
And it's so crazy, but he's such a humble guy. Mm. And when I was taking his class, I joked around. I was like, the Minister of Economics back then, his last name was also Mendoza, so we met in Peru. He was like, yeah, that's my dad. And I was like, oh, okay, that's a humble flex. But he was a great guy, super humble. I think now he's probably studying, still teaching, but he just really, his class was fascinating. Like, I learned so much.
Okay.
Developing economics.
Great. Yeah. Well, this has been an awesome conversation. Thank you, Leonardo.
Of course.
All about community,
yes.
networking, commitment to self, commitment to public service.
Of course.
Congratulations for the work that you're doing at CHSA, and for helping, intern young professionals to navigate what it's like to be on the Hill, especially since you started as an intern there. So thanks again for joining us on the Purple Line. Thank you, Leonardo.
Thank you, Marianne.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to The Purple Line. Follow us on social media at The CHLI, at THECHLI. Thank you for joining us on The Purple Line.